Hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We've got another brand new show for you, and we're going to start this week down on Lake Erie doing a little walleye fishing. Our own Gabe Van Wormer and Jordan Brown were down there, just the two of them on their own boat doing some walleye fishing. They're going to show us some of the tricks of the trade if you'd like to try out that fishery. Also, we're going to do a little dog training on this week's show. Recently was in the mid-Michigan area, following some dog handlers there. You won't want to miss that, especially if you're into bird dogs. And we're going to end this week's show with actually some time sitting down with the DNR to get some information on fish identification when it comes to a bowfin versus a snakehead. So some good information there as well. Lots of good stuff on this week's program. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Meijer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meijer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meijer. By Zimmer Roofing and Construction in Port Huron, featuring Duralast roofing systems made in Michigan. Zimmer Roofing and Construction provides installation, maintenance, service, and repair, serving commercial and residential clients on the web at zimmerroofing.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
Hi, I'm Jordan Brown, and we kick off this week's show with a walleye fishing story from Lake Erie, where Gabe Van Wormer and I were able to hit the water in his boat and do a little fishing ourselves.
Well, what we're doing here today is we're running out of Luna Pier, Michigan, and we've got tons and tons of fish out here. Got a good hot tip. So Jordan and I, we've got awesome jobs. We're able to take a day off and go down here and fish. We're going to take a look at the old Precision Trolling Bible here and take a look and see where we need these reef runners. And we're going to get down here on the fish real quick. We got a lot of boats out here. We're kind of on the outside of the pack and see what happens.
Well, we're about 5 minutes in down here in Lake Erie. We got a fish on. This one feels pretty good. It's a little tough to tell with the board on yet, but we're kind of working, we're kind of playing. So we're having fun, we're taping. Hopefully it's a good day on the water. Good start.
It did take us a few minutes to find the fish, but once we were able to locate them on the graph and get lines set, it didn't take long at all to put our first walleye in the boat. Today we were planning on trolling crankbaits for most of the day, hoping to find a limit of post-spawn walleye.
This morning when we got out here, we had some pretty recent information from some friends of mine, but we had to fine-tune that. Where we went to begin with, we weren't seeing anything on the graph. So what I do is I kind of troll around the area and I look for fish up and feeding on the graph. Once we find those fish that are up off the bottom feeding, then we'll go ahead and set lines. But there's no reason to set lines without seeing that. So we go ahead and watch our graph, figure out where they're hitting. Once we get into some fish, we start marking waypoints and we start going back to those waypoints. And that's what it was this morning. A little bit slow to begin with the first 15-20 minutes, but as soon as they start hitting, we couldn't keep lines in the water.
Yeah, not a bad fish. We're fishing these Reef Runner Rip Shads 400 series. Not a bad walleye. Good eater size. Someone put up a big fight, and we got another one on right here. Take a look at that board going back. I'll get him in the cooler and the live well, and we'll get going on that one.
Once the action started, we could hardly get one fish in the boat before we had another one on. The crankbait bite was on today, which can often make for a cleaner and more efficient day on the water.
I like using crankbaits over crawlers mainly because I don't get my hands dirty. That's just a simple fact about it. But they are more efficient. The reason being, when you get hit on a crankbait, the board goes back, and if you miss it, the crankbait goes right back into line and it starts fishing again right now. With a crawler, as soon as you get hit, you've lost some of your crawler, and now you got to reel it all the way in and put it back out, and that's downtime for your fishing. You want to be more efficient, you want your lines in the water more often, and we can also cover a lot of water. I'm running 2.5 miles an hour, 2 to 2.5 miles an hour with these cranks. If I was fishing spinners out here, I'd only be moving maybe 0.8 to 1.2, 1.3 at the max. We're just covering a whole lot more water, and we're being more efficient with our fishing, and that's what you got to do to catch walleyes.
You make that look easy.
It's not easy. Just two of us on the boat, and in theory I think it sounded easier than it is, but you got to grab a planer board, and grab a net, and grab a fish, and grab a camera. It's a little complicated, but we're making it work.
What do you do when you got two guys on the boat? One's got to run the camera. I mean, we got to tell Jimmy we're working somehow. We got the board just slammed, and we got a second one just slammed out here. We're running Magnum Hottentots on Lake Erie. When I was a kid, we used to run these all the time, and fishing was easy back then. And today, it's like the good old days again. I love it.
The fishing had been phenomenal so far today, but if there was one thing that we were missing, it was one of the really big walleye that Lake Erie is known for. But that was about to change.
We've been fishing Saginaw Bay lately, and you just don't get fish that big. This time of year, usually, ooh man, nice fish. Woo! Oh, we got a fish on the outside board. Yep, that's the fish we wanted right there. Holy moly. Now that's a walleye. And if you'll look at that. We got a fish on the inside board, and that's a good fish. We have got this fish, we've got two more fish on there, and we're gonna have to put down the camera here in just a minute.
Gabe just landed a monster walleye. This one's not in that class, but it still feels like a good fish. It's not every day you flip walleye like that in the boat. We just got so much going on. Sometimes you got to do it. Another great keeper. We're gonna have to start counting here pretty soon. We got another fish still on. Got to get him in, and we're gonna have to count, see how close we're getting to our limit.
Well, back when I was a kid, we didn't have all this equipment that we have now. This is a Lowrance HDS 9 Touch, and I'm able to go right back specifically where I've been. So when I go on the graph and I catch fish, we catch a bunch of fish in one area, I'm able to come right back around and come directly over those fish one more time. And this morning it's been crucial because there's been a small pot of fish out here that we're just hammering over and over and over again. And when we get out of them, we're not catching fish. Years ago, we'd have to line up things on shore. And when you're 12 miles away from shore, that's pretty hard to do. So with this system, we're able to not only mark fish on the one side, but we're able to get back on them by using the map on the other.
Another important aspect to fishing this way is the use of planer boards, not only to get more lines out and get them away from the boat, but also to help detect subtle bites and snags while you troll.
If you've never fished with little planer boards, you're missing the boat. This is an offshore tackle board, and on the back you'll see that this is called a tattle flag system. When the fish pulls back, the flag goes down. Now today we're fishing with crankbait, so I've actually locked this pin down so my flags don't move back on these. But what they are is they're simple. They have a clip on the front, they have a clip on the back. They stay on your line when you reel them in, you unclip them, and then you fight the fish. The reason these are so effective is when you see a fish hit, it tips back in the water and it pulls back out of line. So if you have a perfect line of 3 or 4 planer boards in line and one tips back and moves backwards, you've got a fish on it, or you've got the bottom, or you've got something else. You know that something's going on, so you're able to check that board. And they're just awesome ways to fish. You get your lines out away from the boat, and they're a perfect way to catch walleye.
Gabe has been walleye fishing for most of his life, and it's a passion that only continues to grow the older he gets. There's just something about outsmarting these fish on such a big body of water that keeps him coming back for more.
Growing up, we walleye fished all the time. I mean, we were out on Lake Erie all the time. We never really went to Saginaw Bay a whole lot, but over the last few years, once I've been able to get my own boat, I've been able to fish even more than I used to. And we were pretty die-hard back then. Now we're just plain clinical. I love walleyes because they are just finicky feeders. You got to figure out what they want. You got to figure out what depth, and it's out on these big waters. There is nothing better than sitting on a boat out in the middle of big water. I mean, that's just the best thing there is. So I just love walleye fishing.
That's just Lake Erie. That's just average. I mean, that's a great fish anywhere else, and that's just average today. Unreal.
It was a great day of fishing down on Lake Erie, with our biggest fish measuring over 31 inches long and weighing nearly 10 pounds. It just goes to show you how fortunate we are to have one of the best walleye fishing lakes in the world so close to home.
Well, as you can see, both Jordan and Gabe had a lot of fun down there on Lake Erie, and you'd think that since they were down there working that they might bring some of those fillets back here to the office. Well, I have yet to see those, and somehow I don't think that I will. But it's fun for us as kind of the TV crew to get out from behind the camera every now and then, show you some of the things that we're passionate about. And obviously Gabe is a very good walleye fisherman, has been doing that really his whole life, so it's fun to kind of see him in that mode. And something that I'm pretty passionate about over the last several years, if you watch the show at all, is bird hunting. Well, a big part of bird hunting is bird dog handling and bird dog training, and we're going to show you a bird dog trial right now on this week's show. Now, some folks are pretty intimidated by those. They don't feel like they're either ready or their dog isn't ready to go to a bird dog trial and kind of see where they, kind of where they match up. But there's a new organization here in the state of Michigan called the Great Lakes Sport Dog Association, which is a great way to get new people kind of into that sport. It might be something you want to check out if you're a bird hunter. A few weeks back found me just north of Ionia at one of the Pine Hill Kennels properties. Today, the Great Lakes Sport Dog Association was having an event, and I was excited to learn more about this group, run my dog, and see what the judges were expecting from dog and handlers here today.
I'm looking for a lot of style in the very beginning. I'm looking for how the handler handles the dog. The response when the handler handles the dog is pretty important. When the dog goes on point, I love to see the dog that will stand there steady until the handler is able to flush the bird, is what's really important to me when I look at a dog. Then in the very beginning we have the novice, which are a lot of puppies. That stuff right there, we kind of work on it as we're going out there in our tests. We kind of talk about it and show them how we can fix certain things if the dog's not steady on their birds.
What did you like and not like there?
One of the things I don't like when the dog initially establishes point. You got to make sure that dog stands there and stays there. The handler needs to look for the bird. If you can't find the bird, then he needs to relocate the dog by either tapping the dog on its side. However he orchestrates his relocation would be a good idea. Have him relocate that bird, then establish a new point. Then once he locates the bird, flush it, but the dog shouldn't be moving, shouldn't be taking any steps, no creeping, any of that stuff. So we're going to work on that in the next bird, and I'm going to show them what we need to do by picking the dog up, setting them down, telling them whoa, and then maybe I even may hold the dog next time for them.
I was really impressed with this group. It was a great way for new dog handlers to get some really good hands-on help in getting their dogs to be a better hunter in real-world hunting situations.
We are Great Lakes Sport Dog Association, and what we do is we get dogs together and their handlers, and we take them out in the fields and actually put on mock hunt tests and hunting scenarios in an effort to train the hunter and the dog on how to run and hunt test and become a better hunter.
So this is good for the beginner?
Yes, this is absolutely the beginning.
Okay.
Yes.
But you do get some pretty finished dogs in your team?
We have everything from your meat dog, your preserved gun dog, all the way up to national champions.
The Great Lakes Sport Dog Association did have everything from pups just getting their first whiff of live birds to some dogs that were as good as they can be. For me, I just love to see good dogs work, and even though not in grouse cover, it's still fun to watch them do their thing. Well, I am glad, as were most of the folks here today, that their shooting was not part of what was being judged. Now, Scott Brozier is the owner of Pine Hill Kennels, and I had him talk a little bit about what they are all about.
We're more or less a full-service breeding, boarding, training facility for dogs, as well as a guide service for upland game, i.e. Preserve hunting, as well as upland grouse and woodcock, and we provide a limited guide service. We are a semi-private club, so we do have members, but you can hunt here and not be a member.
Having a chance to talk to a full-time dog trainer was great, and I wanted to get his take on the Great Lakes Sport Dog Association.
It's a very fun, low-pressure oriented organization. So when you come out here, you're not expected to have necessarily the level of training that you would per se in like NASTRA or BDC or any of the field trial, the Rough Grouse Society field trials. It's very low key. You have a lot of people with a varied array of dog experience that can help shape your training and give you tips and tricks on how to move forward. So should you decide to go into another hunting venue, or if you want to do the games, it's a stepping stone for a lot of those opportunities. Excellent training for the hunter and the dog. To be able to work your dog outside the hunting season, as we all know, there's nothing better than birds to make a bird dog.
Well, what makes a good bird dog is time, some luck, and lots of birds under its nose. But when it's all done right, here is what you get.
Right here, buddy. Right here. Right here. Over here. We'll go to Steve. Over here. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
So that's how they're supposed to look, eh?
That's how they're supposed to look. Believe it or not, that's how they're supposed to look. Not supposed to move when you take steps. I mean, as you can see, I showed you that bird inside the grass there. No, that dog's not going to move. That's a 100% broke dog. And you can see by the retrieve, straight at it, straight right back to you. And that's what you're looking for in a broke dog. To where you can step in the grass, you can relocate him if you need to. He'll establish point again. And as he establishes his point, as staunch as he did the first time. And that's kind of what you're looking for.
So if you're looking to help your bird dog along, the Great Lakes Sport Dog Association, well, it might just be for you. A bunch of hunters with everything from puppies to master hunters, doing what they enjoy, chasing bird dogs here at Michigan's Out of Doors. Hey, I'm Jimmy Gretzinger with Michigan Out of Doors Television. We're here today with Seth Herbst from the DNR, actually the DNR Aquatic Invasive Species Coordinator. And Seth, before we get into specifics about what we're going to talk about as far as which species we're looking at today, just for the average angler, why are invasives a bad thing?
Okay. Well, Jimmy, invasive species have, throughout the past 10 or 15 years, really influenced our native fish communities in a very negative way. A couple examples there would be sea lamprey in the Great Lakes. Everybody is familiar with how they've influenced the salmon and the lake trout fishery in the Great Lakes waters.
And we spend a lot of money to combat those.
Exactly, yeah. So we're talking about millions of dollars on an annual basis to try to control some of these invasive species. Most of which have the ability to, after they're introduced, really become abundant and just dominate a water body or an ecosystem. So with that being said, you can tell that our native fish community would certainly be influenced by a very abundant, negative invasive species.
Okay, so the species that we really want to talk about today is the dogfish. That's the common name for it. It's really a bowfin, and it looks a lot like a snakehead. So Seth, what are some common things that folks can look at and say, okay, this is a bowfin and this is a snakehead? How do we tell the difference?
So just up front, fish do change color here and there. So based on the differences in color, certain things don't change with the fish. So what I want to point out today is this fin here, which is the anal fin, which is quite a bit shorter on this bowfin than it would be on a snakehead.
So how much bigger would it be on a snakehead?
Yep. So when you're looking at the snakehead, your anal fin would probably be about this long.
So quite large.
And then this fin here would actually be a little further up too.
Okay.
And then the other thing that would be different from a bowfin and a snakehead is actually this dot here. Snakehead will not have that dot on the back.
Okay.
And in specific, bowfin, actually, not all bowfin have that.
Oh. Okay.
Right. So with the males,
they have the dot, you know for sure.
For sure, it's a bowfin. Yes.
Okay.
So with the males and the juveniles of the bowfin, they'll have this distinct dot on the back.
Okay.
But if you're in question and say it's a female and it doesn't have that dot, every single time this fin here will be substantially shorter in length. I mean, almost double in length of a snakehead versus this native bowfin.
Okay, and so really, I think it's really impactful for a lot of bass fishermen, as we know there's bass tournaments all over the state of Michigan. That is a very specific angler that would be, impacted if we got snakehead into our system.
Yeah, if snakehead show up, they've actually been known to eat largemouth bass when they're juveniles. But then as an adult, snakehead actually outcompete the native adult largemouth bass. So out east, they've been having issues with snakehead actually outcompeting largemouth bass, which obviously influences some of the fishing experiences that those anglers are having out there in those waters.
Okay, well, very good information for us as anglers here in the state of Michigan. Again, if you have questions, you can always go to the DNR website, find out information there. And Seth, thanks for your time and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate you having me.
Well, hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. If you missed part of this week's show or maybe last week's show, you can always check us out online at michiganoutofdoorstv.com. We have full episodes of the show there and lots of other fun stuff. And if you do the Facebook thing, you can check us out there. We're trying to bring you a brand new episode of Michigan Out of Doors every week of the year, and we kind of update you as we're traveling this great state. Now, if you want to see what's coming over the next couple of weeks here on Michigan Out of Doors, it's going to be primarily a lot of good fishing, because there is good fishing all over the state of Michigan right now, from the Upper Peninsula all the way down to Lake St. Clair, where we actually were recently out there doing a little bit of muskie fishing. So that'll be coming on next week's program, as well as some big water stuff out of the Port of Holland. So lots of good stuff happening right now in the state of Michigan if you're a sportsman. And hey, if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Rosie Brothers. Located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. By Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Meyer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping. From bug spray and tents to GPS and gas, Meyer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there. Meyer. Closed captioning is brought to you by Propane, exceptional energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, east to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above.